ready. Hi cooking team, welcome to Kingswood Kitchen, and today we're going to be making apple crumble, which you can find in your book. But first things first, let's wash our hands. Don't forget to give your hands a really good wash. So now that we've done our hand washing, we can start making the crumble. So in your box this week, you should find a pot here. It's got butter, flour and sugar in. You'll have an apple, and you're going to have 2 little silver foil trays here, which means you can make 2 apple crumbles. So you can make one for yourself and one for someone else in your house. So let's start off with this little pot here. So you want to get this out of your box. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to tip it into a mixing bowl. Now, if you don't have a mixing bowl at home, that's absolutely fine, because you can use even a little bowl like this. It'll work just perfectly. So first thing we're going to do is tip it all in the bowl like this, as you can see. And then we need to get the butter mixed in with the flour and the sugar. So we're going to use a technique called rubbing. So what you do is you pick up the flour and the butter and you rub the butter into the flour, and you keep doing that over and over again. And eventually the butter will work its way into the flour. You'll know when you've nearly got it there because it'll look like breadcrumbs. Okay, so that's all looking good now. That looks like the butter's all been rubbed into the flour and the sugar. So we can move that to one side for now. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to peel our apple. So this is in your box, and to do this you can use a peeler, which looks like this, but if you haven't got a peeler, that doesn't matter because you can use a knife instead. However, if you are going to use a knife, make sure that you've got an adult with you who can help you with the knife, because it can be very dangerous. So I'm going to use a peeler because I don't trust myself with the knife. I'm just going to peel the apple. And you want to make sure that you get all of the skin off the apple. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut it into segments, and we're going to use a knife. First thing we're going to do is we're going to cut one side down just like this. We're going to cut it into 4 pieces. So that's piece number 1, that's piece number 2, number 3 and number 4. There we go. And then you're left with the core. We don't want that bit because it's not going to taste very nice in a crumble. Right, so now that we've got our 4 segments like this, we're going to cut them into cubes about the size of your little fingers. And there we go. So now you can see that we've cut that apple up, and that's all of our little apple pieces there. It doesn't matter if they're not the same size. The next thing we need to do is we're going to pop them into our tin foils. So you don't have to use all the apple, you can eat the rest, but we're only going to fill them up about halfway. So we're just going to put the apple in there, and then we're going to put the same amount into the next tin foil. There we go. So now they are both looking great. They're both half full there, as you can see. And remember that flour and butter that we used earlier, we're now going to put that into those foils. So here it is in the bowl. And we're just going to sprinkle it in. Are left with a little bit of flour and butter at the end of your flour mixture, you can actually save it and you can recycle the pots. Okay, we have the final stage now. So now that we've got the apple and the flour in the tins, we're going to pop them onto a baking tray. And we're going to put them in the oven at 180 degrees C or gas mark 5. So we've preheated our oven today. We're going to be extra careful. So ask an adult to help you and use some oven gloves. So I've got my oven gloves here, got my apple crumbles ready to go in the oven. I'm going to be extra careful because it's so hot. And here we have it, finished apple crumble. Really hot, so you have to be extra careful when you take them out of the oven. So we're gonna put it out onto a plate. So wait for it to cool, obviously, before you pick it up, because it still might be hot. And we're going to... And there we have it, our apple crumble. And when you have your apple crumble on a plate, you can have it with some ice cream, you can have it with some different toppings. Have a look in your fridge and see what works well with it. And once you've done that, we also are on Instagram, and don't forget, post your picture of your crumble with our hashtag and tag in Kingswood Kitchens. And there's going to be a competition, so tag a picture of you and someone you love eating the crumble. I'm going to have mine with my monkey. And there's going to be a prize, and the prize is a family box of food for your family, along with a Gruffalo cooking book for the funniest picture of you and one of your family members in your house with your apple crumble. Can't wait to see your photos, get them coming in, and then next week we're going to be making cookies with Andrew.